уже ее передала.
Нет, я только что, мне другая у меня презентация, она мне дала в долг. Олег Анатольевич на конференции. Это срочно нужно, Олег? Пониже, дайте просто. Не-не-не, это выкинуть. Пониже, пониже, пониже. Все. Да нет, она. А если наверху, тогда наоборот. Да, а давайте посмотрим по всем, которые не записалась. Нет. Ну ладно, наша вступление сюда поступили. Вот, презентация к статье, да.
Можно нашу фамилию?
Да, как вам удобно. Назарова, Малихина.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. We're glad to see you here again at our second day. And do you need the microphone?
No.
And we would like to start with giving the floor with the founder of this conference, Dialog.
Thank you. So, I'll start speaking in English because here we have an audience full of representatives who learn English in contrast with yesterday's conference where we have teachers with French, German and English, and I have to speak first in Russian. And now, welcome to the third conference, All Russian Science and Research Conference with international participation, Dialogue of Generations. This year, we had a subtitle as Learn, Teach, Study. Because, as we know, we teachers learn. We learn and we get knowledge. Our students and then sit and we teach them. And our students should study all this knowledge, information, which we try to transform them. We are not transmitters of the knowledge, by the way. I am fully concerned of the fact that we teach them not only knowledge of our subject, but we teach them how to live, how to communicate, how to get and to gain the information from any sources which are full of around us nowadays. This year, our conference has participants from 50 cities and all around Russia, to Spain, Belarus, what else? Kazakhstan, and So I'm really concerned of the fact that, and I do hope that our conference will continue to work, will continue to live, will continue to attract teachers and students from other cities, other countries, and nevertheless, we have now difficult times in international communications, but I know that everything will be very good, will be okay, and we will live very happy life together with our friends from other countries. And we will be ready to communicate with them because we are not going to forget foreign languages. And I think that our conference will do everything to help us not to forget these languages. Thank you. Good luck in our work. Get, satisfaction, joy, and look for the prospects of using these foreign languages, not only in general communication, but also in our scientific work. Thank you.
So we're starting the second day, which is dedicated to the problems of engineering, economics, natural sciences, and some more.
So, the first presenter today is Белоусов Владимир Николаевич, PhD in Engineering, Associate Professor. Владимир Николаевич, you are welcome.
To my mind, the music, just music for my record was more interesting. But I have to start.
Come on.
My name is Белоусов Vladimir, Department of Industrial Atomic Engineering, and we are going to talk today about the reduction of nitrogen oxides in atomic power plants. Combustion of fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gas is always accompanied by the building of different harmful, toxic, and I should say poisonous substances. For example, products of incomplete burning, ash particles. This applies only solid fuels. Sulfur oxides, this applies solid and liquid fuels, and the most harmful, the most toxic substances are nitrogen oxides. And either NO or NO2. In general, they're called NOx. At this slide, you can see maximum emission concentrations of these components adopted in Russia. And just a moment. Now, this slide represents different classes of all toxic gases, from slightly dangerous to this class belongs carbon oxide. Extremely dangerous. And NOx belongs to highly dangerous. Here are the maximum possible concentration, and we are talking here about concentration of these substances in the ground layer, where the fuel means where the people live. Here in this room, for example. Yes. And in Russia, there are only maximum possible emissions. And now we are talking about not concentration in the layer ground, but the outlet of chimney. Compare two numbers. 0,085 and, for example, 125 or 640. That's why it is necessary to build high chimneys to disperse all these harmful substances to permissible standard values. So, before I shall talk about the mechanism of NOx building, it is necessary to say some words about fuel composition. Solid and liquid fuel consist of a great number of complex macromolecular organic compounds, mineral impurities, and moisture. And these organic compounds are in turn consist of 5 chemical elements. Carbon, hydrogen, and sulfur are combustible. They form oxides. Nitrogen and oxygen is internal balanced. Here you see the example of complex organic compound, but it has nothing to do with the fuel. It's well known drug named cocaine. What about natural gas? The main component of natural gas is methane with small small share of heavier hydrocarbons and balanced carbon dioxide and nitrogen. And here you see a simple reaction, combustion reaction. Combustion reaction is the interaction of combustible part of the fuel with oxygen, not with the luft, but the oxygen of the luft. And it's known that luft consists of 79% of nitrogen and 21% of oxygen. So, nitrogen oxides can be divided into two classes: fuel NOx and air NOx. Fuel NOx formed from nitrogen of these organic compounds, and air NOx from the air, from nitrogen of the air. On this slide you can see the dependence of nitrogen compounds from temperature. It is obvious that NOx concentration increases with the rise of temperature. Here you can see the two approaches to reduce NOx emissions. They are passive and active. Passive. Look at screening in special installations mounted after the last heat transfer surface in the boiler, that is the air heater. And active, this way, passive way, is unprogressive, very expensive, and rarely used. Active way. Suppression of NOx formation at the initial stage is in the zone of active combustion, where the temperature is high and the saturation of oxygen is also high. In our everyday, we can say the analogies. If you want to keep your house neat and tidy, do not throw garbage in household waste, so you don't have to clean it up later. So, basically, there are two main factors. Забываю слова.
Okay, that's okay.
There are two main factors, определяющие determining the rate of NOx build. They are maximum temperature and oxygen concentration in the zone of active combustion, the outlet of the burner. And it is unconceptible to decrease both temperature and oxygen concentration. It is necessary to increase either maximum temperature or oxygen concentration. Here are different methods to reduce maximum temperature in this zone. Low gas circulation, moisture injection, hot air temperature reduction, and low temperature combustion methods. And to reduce the oxygen concentration, we use non-stoichiometrical combustion, stage combustion, two-stage or three-stage, low NOx, and high temperature NOx reduction. Now I try to clarify something from For example, the most common and the most expensive дешевый
Cheap.
cheap,
Yeah,
okay?
cheap.
Method is flue gas recirculation. Another example from our everyday life. If you have a glass of hot tea, you want to drink right now, but it is not possible to drink because it's very hot. What are you going to do? To drink it now, not in 15 minutes. You're going to add a little bit water. Cold, boiled water. The same way here. If you want to reduce temperature in this zone of the combustion, we install flue gas recirculation exhauster. Take a part of these flue gases from 5 to 20% and supply these gases with temperature, for example, 200 degrees Celsius, to this zone where the temperature is about 1000. It is I repeat, it is the simplest way to reduce temperature in the zone of active combustion. Now some words about non-stoichiometric combustion. Here are the reactions of carbon combustion. The first one is stoichiometric. One molecule of carbon needs 1 molecule of oxygen. We see carbon dioxide. That is, if there is less oxygen, this reaction will be non-stoichiometric. And now I shall try to clarify this principle. There are three possible ways: air imbalance, fuel imbalance, and combined imbalance. For example, this air imbalance. If we have two rows of burners of two types, it is necessary. The temperature, the highest temperature is here in this zone, in this area. That's why we supply not 50% but 40% of the air to this zone, and the fuel 50-50. It's called air imbalance, and I should say some words about this alpha. Alpha is excess air ratio. It is the ratio of the active volume of air supplied to combustion to the theoretical environment. For example, 1 kilogram of coal needs about 5 cubic meters of the air. It is a chemistry, but in reality, real combustion needs not 5, but for example 6, because all modern combustion chambers, furnaces are not ideal from the point of view of air. It is impossible to mix all the air with the fuel. So here in this zone we have recovery zone and acidification zone. It is imbalance air. The same fuel imbalance, but here the air will supply 50-50 and the fuel in the first row 60% and the second row 40%. And combined 45-55, 45. So it's called stoichiometric combustion. And what about stage combustion? In general, it is the same. Through the burners, we supply not all the air, that is impossible for combustion, but only the part of it, and the rest of the air will supply and for either towards less than 1, then more. It's the same way, 3-stage conversion was put in operation by our students. 100%. At the end, I want to say some words about law as it's been that was created, was constructed by our department and put in operation the power plant of Kotlas pulp and paper mill approximately 55 years ago. With my participation, Professor Pipan, if you know him. So the idea is the following: secondary air channel will be divided to 2 channels, secondary and tertiary, so that in this zone we have alpha less than 1 recovery zone, and here is the oxidation zone. The main idea that it is also stoichiometric and stage convection, but without any expensive construction. So, as I know, this burner is in operation now. I have about everything that I wrote. Thank you for the attention.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
Maybe it's me. I don't have any questions, but may I ask you, Vladimir Nikolaevich, to use your presentation for your students in English? In
course.
English.
With great pleasure.
I would be glad if our students will listen to such presentation on your speciality, but in English. It will be of great, great help for you both to communicate in English and at the same time to know your speciality. Because now the message of our conference is to communicate with our students and to show how our teachers who learned English many years ago, earlier than you are now, but still they use English and they are happy to present their knowledge in English here for you, not only for us, but to you also. Thank you, Vladimir.
And I'm sorry for the English because I have only one opportunity in the year.
We have minor changes in our program, and now the floor will be given to the representatives of the natural science section, Maxim Victorina, and head of the Department of International Relations, who will give a speech about Forest International Program.
I'm sorry for the changes. Unfortunately, I have a session where I have to be online because I'm the interpreter. My colleagues will not understand each other without me, so that's why we had to change. Before I start, I'd like to remind the teachers here in the audience, show the example to the students not only how to speak English, but also how to listen to the presenters. I'll tell you about learning about forest program. How it works?
Yeah, it works.
The left and
It
the
works
right
every
arrows.
year.
I hope it works, yes. You're quite aware of some programs run by Foundation of Environmental Education, international organization. I've already told you earlier about the EcoSchools program and about Green Key program. Today we'll learn about one more program targeted for schools and kindergartens, but also with some participation of students of the universities, profiled universities in the forestry and forest and wood processing sectors of the industry. So the program was initially created in the Nordic countries, and then it became the international one in the year 2000. Forest in School, as it was called earlier, Skogen is skolan in Swedish. The other languages are impossible to pronounce. So it became a good background for developing the international version of the program. Now the program is run in 27 countries of the world, including Russia. The program is aimed at introducing students to all values of forests, not only environmental, but also economic, cultural, and social ones. It's nice to say that the program is based on project-oriented approach, which is part of the federal state standards, the educational standards we have in Russia for all stages of education, starting with kindergarten, by the way. So even in the kindergarten nowadays, the students have to, or the kids have to run projects. The program has a step-by-step approach, which means that it starts with connecting or reconnecting with the nature and giving students a chance to experience pleasure of being outdoors, then through learning about ecosystems, different kinds of ecosystems, not only forest ones, then interaction between people and nature, and finally it gives students the competences, necessary competences for decision making and taking responsibility for their decisions in the field of nature protection towards world sustainability. And now about a few projects we have in Russia. In the frame of that program, I decided to choose just a few interesting ones. So, learning about forest is a program which is enjoyed by people of different ages, starting with the kindergarten and even nurseries. So one of the most popular projects in the frame of the program in Russia was Let's Make Friends through planting trees together. These trees that are planted in the photo by the kids from the kindergarten in Chapais, the Samara region, were presented to them by the kids in their partner kindergarten in Zelenodolsk, the Republic of Tatarstan. And actually there are many trees growing all over Russia, grow by various kids, students in different school forestries, we'll show it later, and presented to their colleagues of different ages in other parts of Russia and even abroad. We have one of the cedars, for example, growing near the office of the Foundation of Environmental Education in Denmark, in Copenhagen. So one of the most active participants of Learning About Forest program in Russia is the Lyceum School number 10. Now it has the status of Science and Education Complex in Ustilisk. They have their own school forestry and nursery where they grow seedlings of different species of trees. And one of their very ambitious projects was to take part in spreading cedars, or it's better to say Siberian pine, because we call it cedar, but in fact biologists call it Siberian pine. All over Russia they grew thousands of seedlings of cedars and presented them to schools from all over Russia. For example, they now grow in the Bryansk region, in St. Petersburg, in the Karelian schools, and so on and so forth. Students collect seeds themselves in forests, grew the seedlings up to the age of 1 to 3 years old. For cedar, it's better to have 5 to 7 years old for them to be able to plant somewhere far away outside the Irkutsk region. One of the very ambitious projects, they have let's present 25,000 cedars to the native city, and they did grew 25,000 to even more thousands of cedars, and planted them both inside the city and in its surroundings. And they are working in very good cooperation with local forestry, and namely Northern Forestry of the Irkutsk region. One of the, I think, most successful and really fascinating project they had together with the forestry was taking care of the pine tree seedlings. When they came to the field where the local forestry grew the seedlings, they could see only weeds there. You can see. But after their hard work during a week, they saved 1 million seedlings of pine tree. And of course, in addition to various theoretical conferences in the field of forestry and environmental protection, for example, Хлебородовские readings that are run annually in the Forestry Technical Academy in St. Petersburg, university now, together with the local schools. The school children implement also practical activities. The most well known for everybody is arranging feeding places for birds. They can be arranged in a very sophisticated way, like the left one, or in a very simple way, like the right one. But anyway, the birds are very happy to eat from both of them. And if you want to learn more about the program, you're welcome to visit their website. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Georgina. Learning about forest is actually important nowadays. Are there any questions?
I have a very small comment. The best view is well forgotten something. Because when I remember myself as a 4th class pupil, we had such programs, and it was quite natural for us in winter or in autumn to go and plant some trees or bushes or flowers or something else. And of course we were told about interaction between plants and animals and substances as ecosystem of the forest, of the lake, for example, river, and so on and so forth.
Yes, for sure. That kind of knowledge is not new for children, and it's not.
It's traditional.
Yes, it's not something extraordinary in our program. But I would say that in other countries, they do have it as something fascinating and absolutely new. In some countries there was state-owned project which was financed by the state to teach schools to arrange composting, to teach people in the country that it's possible to collect rainwater for further watering the flowers. It was state-owned project financed by the state to teach people that when you want to cook something on the open fire, you will need more woods, more fuel than if you make at least some kind of oven, even of glue. it was state-owned project, you know? So for some countries, it's extremely new. What is new for our country in this program is to have classes outdoors. So outdoor classroom and taking kids outside to learn various projects, various subjects, not only biology, but for example maths, physics and so on, outdoors. That is something new in that program for us. For example, if you want to measure the height of the tree, you need at least some knowledge of maths, and so on and so forth. But the majority of the aspects of that program are absolutely well known for us, for sure.
They are well known, but they're not implemented at regular basis at every school.
Yeah.
That would be fine, of course.
Yes, usually it is implemented in the frame of so-called after-school activities.
Yeah. It depends on school.
Yes,
Sure.
but it should be a state-owned program to make it regular.
Yes.
Thank you.
What is the question, Mom? Sorry, Olga Georgievna, for interrupting you from your work, but still, you said that in many countries all those projects are commercial. Yeah, they are commercial ones. What about this project in our country? Does our government think about our generation, younger generation, in the sphere of ecological education and pay some more money to teachers or to some suppliers?
I'm sure that our state does think about future generations and so on, but don't show it.
Okay.
Actually, this program is run absolutely on the voluntary basis, run by non-governmental, non-profit making organization Kids and Petersburg Tidy in Russia. Some part of it is, let's say, paid by the salary of the teachers, through the salary of the teachers, because as I mentioned earlier, project work is a bigger part of the program anyway, of our state-owned program, yes? So it means that the teachers have to run projects with the students or motivate students to run projects. The program gives the data and possibilities for some research work on all levels.
So better than nothing.
Yes.
Thank you.
The next speaker's report is dedicated to transit processes in power systems. Характеристики Всеволод Дмитриевич. A postgraduate student is working on the thesis in engineering guided by his scientific advisor Харбиков Евгений Васильевич. Диалог.
So my name is Всеволод. I am trying to explain about main directions of the study of transient in electric power system. Imbalance in electrical power system, the cases of the imbalance in electrical power system are accidents and variables for operational operations, such as changes in electrical loads, operating switching, regulation of various technological processes, starting mechanisms, and etc. Perturbations lead to changes in all or most of the parameters. Parameters of the region, whose deviation from the steady state values many different amplitudes and directions. This is term cases the action of various automatic control and control devices. Tensions, so we have a lot of them, part of them I try to explain now. According to the power flow conditions, normal emergency. Second one, for reasons of occurrence, for occurrence by types of distributing influence and values of disturbances. like small shock, like sinusoidal, etc. According to the assumptions made, then composing different equations. So, according to the completeness of the mathematical description, by the speed of the process, according to the structure of the system under study, simple containing radial lines or complex consisting of a number of contours. Main directions, main research directions of transient process. So I explain on this slide. So first of one is estimation of the amplitudes of variables under the most unfavorable emergency disturbances for determining the operating conditions of equipment. The choice of future equipment, the development of measures to remove dangerous quantities or models. Second one is a determination of changes in the state variables of a non-linear electromechanical system under finite perturbations to determine the stability in series. The choice of the effects of emergency control system. Determination of stability indications of a linear-like model of electrical power system. With small disturbances for the selection and coordination of tuning parameters of automatic control devices. Determination of stability indications clarification of the working conditions of new types of equipment, identification of factors caused by correlative changes in the composition of electrical power system, specification of the mathematical models of element used, determination of the direction of the refinement. For learning this process, we are using several specialized programs. The group of these programs, main group are four. First of all, research programs for performing calculations of transient according to the complex Markov equation in scales of small complexities. The main purpose is to determine the impact values of variables, as well as the development and refinement of models. Program and calculation methods for determining the amplitudes of periodical composing variables and at given values of equipment. ADS and synchronous machines. The main purpose is to perform mass calculation of short current, shorted current, and complex electrical models, and circuit of arbitrary configuration for selecting equipment and tuning parameters of relay protection. Third group of programs is programs for the study of electromechanical transients under final perturbations. The main purpose is to determine the reserves of stability and emergency management measures that provide to necessary level of synchronous and result stability. Software package for the analysis of stellar static stability, The main purpose is to optimize the settings of automatic execution regulations of synchronous machines to coordinate the tuning parameters of variable regulations in order to achieve satisfactory attenuation indications of low distributed products. So, in conclusion, the problems of transient is a very important moment. So it should be noted what understanding of the transients occurring in power system and the ability to model and predict them allows for uninterrupted and stable operation of energy system, power system. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
That's a first question. Are there any success with the modeling of these processes?
Successful. This process well known, so a lot of preparation program existing. Our energy power system working according to these programs and these methods. So every time, so my idea of an energy system is all electricity which produced should be used for customers. So we cannot in general accumulate it. Of course, we, for example, for solar energy, we use accumulation for this energy, but this is like buffer for transient in general electrical system.
And can you say us what is the quantity of losses of energy in this system?
General losses approximately 5%.
Five? Why? Only 5%?
Only 5%?
It's very low.
Yeah.
For transient, yes. But this
Very
is,
low.
we can a lot of losses. This is not according bad way of infrastructure. A lot of guys use electricity without accounts because we, in general, we have more percent of losses.
Okay, so we have 5% losses for transient, yes, for transient.
For transient.
And what about those who steal this electricity? You said, look, how and what is it? What percent of this is stolen electricity?
Who is calculated?
Okay, I see.
But for example, power forces, they not say anyway there they connect. For example.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Actually, we have two more speakers from the Department of International Relations and two more speakers in the Natural Sciences section. And Organova Maria Sergeyevna, PhD in engineering, will tell us about the international issues related to the environmental education. Please.
Dear colleagues, I would like to present topic of international cooperation in environmental education. And first of all, the main goal of international cooperation of environment education is the management in environmental issues in a global level. So, on the base of our university, the Bios Club of PhD students and school children of the Baltic region solves many times some problems and issues of environmental education by organization their bios forums and bios schools. Bios schools is a seasonal ecological camp where the students with the mentors take samples, water samples, and making some analyzing by hydrochemical, hydrobiological parameters using the remote monitoring instrument, GIS systems, physical and chemical methods, and different instrumental research methods. Now, 76 interregional bios schools with international collaborations were held. Here you can see some statistics of bios schools, and I would like to mention that some teachers and professors from different countries, Russia, Serbia, Finland, Greece, and some others, organize a conference and international seminars on the development of environmental education. Bios Forum. The annual Bios Forums includes International Scientific Conference in Russian Academy of Sciences, research project competition of creative works, and team competition on environmental research methods. Team competitions is organized at Ekaterinov Park for our students, and also art and music festival, ecology and bioculture. Here you can see some statistics about Biospora and Bios Olympiads in 2022, and now 27 Biospora were held with the international organization. But besides that, our students from environmental engineering department take part at different international events. For example, summer camp in Helsinki, they study hydrobiology and hydrochemistry and making some workshops on the water supply. They take part at excursion to the wastewater treatment plant and environmental center, for example, Harka Island. Next one, the International Summer School in Greece. The main topic of this school is green technologies. Also, our students study the lecture course of green technologies and make their project and some take part in some excursion, for example, for the UNESCO park. Of course, international conferences for our students in Poland, Czech, Latvia, and some other countries. Here present one of them. It's in Eastern Europe Young Water Professional Conference. On this conference, students present their projects of water resources, problem or issues. Also, they take part at excursion to the water treatment wastewater treatment plant, and for the excursion also they take part at the workshop from different equipment organization, for example, Anderson House. All also it's International Baltic Sea Camp in Tallinn, Island. And our teachers, professors, and PhD students can take part in the forum of world-renowned universities. For example, here present champion Christian University in Taipei, Taiwan. At 1999, the students and PhD students take part in the conference about the mathematical modeling in environmental protection, and also take part in an excursion to the research centers. Also, our students studied abroad at the Dresden University of Technology in Germany, Lappeenranta University of Technology in Finland, and Mikkeli University of Applied Sciences. During the double degree program, our students can make their thesis on the laboratory of wastewater analysis. Now we have our university have some agreements with the international organization, educational organization. It's Kazakhstan, Iran, Hungary, and some others. Recently, professor from Shahrut University of Technology visited our university, and he was very interested in some courses of environmental engineering department. Besides our world situation, political situation, environmental education is developing, and I think that we need to take time for our increase our international cooperation, not only in environmental education, but in different technology and economics directions. Thank you for your attention, and I would like to ask you questions.
Thank you. I would like to ask you a question. If you please answer. When you show your children's club in Greece, there was a very smart drawings where it's smart swimming pool. I'm curious about this. What would be smart about the swimming pool? Who should be smart? Swimming pool, divers, swimmers? Who? What does it mean?
It was
Long ago. Yeah.
If I remember, it was about the constructions of swimming pool with the
special
soft and ecological for the treatment of water. Yes, for
this is one.
yes, for water in the swimming pool.
Okay, so water circulation, water treatment,
Yes.
yeah?
So
So
requirements for water in the swimming pool.
Okay. I see. Thank you.
Did you participate in all of these projects? So you were very lucky to take part in all of them.
Yeah.
I didn't know they existed. So many.
May I ask you about bias plants? Or it's difficult to say now yet?
Only Iran?
And what about Belarus?
Oh, of course. Maybe I forgot about it. And with the Belarus, we have also some research project in environmental education with the Belarus scientific center. But it's during vice schools and vice fora. It's not for university.
Okay, one comment more. Remember yesterday Vladimir said, why do we use the language from the unfriendly countries? French, Britain and German. What should we do in this sphere? Do you have any plans to cooperate with China, Vietnam, so southeastern countries? Because still they are friendly to Russia. Maybe we should use this situation to attract them to cooperate with us. Thank you.
We can work and with unfriendly and with friendly countries, because now if we have some plan with the Chinese university, maybe some
Hawaii, by the way.
maybe
Brazil, Spain,
yes, Brazil.
Spain,
Portuguese, Argentina.
Spain.
We can work and with the friendly and with unfriendly
Countries as well.
countries, I mean, educational organizations.
Education organization.
Yes. But we need to bring our projects to the Ministry of Education of Russia, and if it's confirmed,
Yes, if it is confirmed.
if it has confirmed,
Yeah, it is
it is confirmed,
Yes.
so it was work.
It will work.
So it's work.
Okay. Only like this, yes? Only like this. We can't send them letters via
Without letting
internet,
the administration
without
know, we
this,
cannot.
without permission from the government. We can't do this. We can. They can do it.
And also about Brazil. Yesterday I speak with our partners in Brazil, and I think we will work with it. But we need, I take time. It takes time.
It takes time.
About 1-2 years. But because for the Latin American countries, it's a bit longer procedure for the confirm.
Yes, we know. And what about South Africa? Johannesburg? So we could list, we could list a lot of countries together with the Mikhailna.
We are working with
What countries to work with? Yes. By the way, South Africa,
Yes.
English. So they spoke, and India. Oh, India, yes.
Vietnam.
Yes, I have already mentioned China, Vietnam, and India. Okay.
We will
South.
work.
Good luck. Good luck. Nice to hear it.
In my mind, in 2 years, all these unfriendly countries will be friendly.
Yes.
I'm sure. I am with you, Vladimir Nikolaevich, of course. Thank you.
The next report, ecological aspects of the biomass pyrolysis by products usage, will be presented by Dimitrona Tatiana Antonova.
Pyrolysis.
Pyrolysis.
And that will be the last report in this section, and after which we'll have a 30-minute coffee break.
Just leave the pointer.
Hello everyone, I'm Tatiana Dimitrova, a specialist of International Relations Department and also assistant of Foreign Languages Department of our High School of Technology and Energy. Today I would like first of all to thank you for your invitation because it's not the first time when I participate in this conference, and so it's always a pleasure to take part in this conference. So today my speech is about ecological aspects of the biomass pyrolysis by products usage. My presentation is based on the research that was carried out in the University of Finland and then in the University of Italy. So there was quite long cooperation, but we did it, and so I would like to represent the very quintessence of it. So let's go. And how to? Okay, perfect. So just a few words to get the idea of the pyrolysis process itself. So what is this process about? This is, generally speaking, is thermal decomposition of organic material at enhanced temperature and in the absence of oxygen. So pyrolysis usually occurs under pressure and at operating temperature above 430 degrees centigrade. So usually it's also the process that depends on the thermal environment and the final temperature. As you can see on this slide, okay, I got it. I got the idea of laser pointer finally. So three byproducts of pyrolysis we can see here on the slide: biochar, bio-oil, and gases. So biochar it yields at low temperature, less than 450 degrees centigrade, and at quite low heating rate. As for gases, they are yield at high temperature, greater than 800 degrees centigrade, and at quite rapid heating rate. So, and at an intermediate temperature, we get the third byproduct that is called bio-oil. And now we are going to the next slide, and it's about the hypothesis of the research. The first one is the production of the biofuels from biomass by means of this process, pyrolysis. Is it really worth it or not? And the second one, what are possible advantages and shortcomings of the usage of each biomass pyrolysis byproduct from the ecological perspective, from the ecological point of view? So now it's not very good to see from, I don't know, it's okay, it's visible biochar. Okay, biochar, perfect. So now I would like to speak about the first byproduct of pyrolysis process and so it's biochar. The idea of biochar that this byproduct has high nutrient retention capacity and also high water retention capacity because of its porous structure. Therefore, it can be applied as a strong soil modifier. So you can see the picture, and you can see that biochar can provide not only soil benefits, but also it can influence atmospheric benefits as well. So, as a soil modifier, it's also influence in the increase of the water holding capacity of agricultural soil. All in all, the usage of biochar will lead to the improvement of physical and chemical properties of soil. Also, it will lead to the increase of soil fertility as well, and in the absorption heavy metals like arsenic, cadmium, and etc. So, all these ideas lead to a great result, like the improvement of the general effect of environmental regeneration this way. And now we are going to the second byproduct of pyrolysis. This is bio-oil. It's dark brown, smelly, high acidity, and organic liquid that is produced from the decomposition and fragments of the main biomass components, such as cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin. The primary application of this byproduct is heat and power generation, but not only. Also, it is about chemical separation as well. So, but first of all, let's mention some shortcomings of this byproduct. So, the most important issues connected to bio-oil are high viscosity, caulking, corrosiveness, also poor volatility, and cold flow problems with it. Though these problems limit the utilization of these valuable byproducts, so still there are different kinds of application. For instance, combustion in boilers or furnaces to provide heat and electricity, and also it is a good option to exchange, to substitute the transported fuels in the future after upgrading. So, I already told about primary application, so, and it is crucial to mention about chemical separation. So, more than 400 types of, 400 types of compounds have been recognized in bio-oil, in this valuable byproduct. So, some rich compounds, for instance, phenols and acetic acids, can be separated by means of adding solvents in bio-oil. Also, I would like to mention just a few words about high-grade applications, because it exists, hopefully. So, it's about hydrogen oxygenation, HDO, or in the other words, hydro upgrading. Also, catalytic steam reforming and catalytic cracking. So, all in all of these modern applications, like primary ones and high-grade ones, lead to the effectiveness to produce the transported fuels, hydrogen, and also synthesis gas. Synthesis gas, it's like syngas, so just short name of synthesis gas. That's all. And so now a few words about the third byproduct that is called syngas, which consists of hydrogen and carbon monoxide. But not only, it also contains a small amount of carbon concept by integration with forest and agricultural industries, also with the energy industry and chemical industry. And now I'm going to conclude my quintessence presentation with the results of the research. So first of all the biomass pyrolysis byproducts and all the possible further integration require very deep and detailed analysis. Second of all, the integration of such valuable technology as pyrolysis took place not only with the help of different usable simulation software, but also it was already outlined in a real power plant process. The third point, last but not least, as I would say, the development of multiple product generation promises to be an essential part of our green technology industry and in the near future, despite its possible shortcomings. But they are not that much, hopefully. So, thank you for your attention. Any questions or comments?
So what about this gas that
Syngas. Synthesis gas.
We noticed that there are some errors. You pointed out that they are outcoming. Yeah. So should they be collected somewhere? And what should we do with this syngas?
Syngas, yeah, it's a very valuable type of biofuel to substitute different organic fuels like we are using today, petroleum, gas, diesel, that's it. So, okay, this kind of conception is quite expensive, I would say, but still it's already integrated in some Finnish power plants, so and it works. It works. Unfortunately not, so that's why this is the idea, this is the promotion of the ideas. Yeah, Vladimir Nikolaevich?
What about the heat value with syngas? Calorific value.
Calorific value. You know what? I need to be more concrete with my colleagues to answer your questions because the theoretical part was on my side and about the calculations it was on their side. So I need to clarify this and I would tell you for sure.
But approximately. Okay, another.
You compare with natural gas.
With natural gas?
Yes.
It is comparable because they are much more expensive. Yes, it's much more expensive than.
Sorry, but
natural
yeah, I just forgot the precise number. Sorry.
I know.
Ah, you know.
Yes, of course.
Could you tell me, please, then?
About 10 or 15 megajoules.
Megajoules.
Cubic meter.
Okay, perfect. Ah,
Is it?
thank you.
And natural gas 35.
Yeah.
25. But
Much
it's
more.
much more expensive.
Much more.
Much more expensive. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tatiana. Again, we have minor changes in our program, and we will listen to the speakers from the section of economic sciences and discuss the problems of the current state of logistics. Yes? Right, ma'am? So the current state of logistics and international trade rooms are rather complicated, as Vimir and Marichina Alessia Vladimirovna and Nazarova Anna Nikolaevna normalize logistical aspects of
Что? Спасибо, процедурирую, да. Yes.
I'm so sorry.
Нет. Можешь
Вы
сделать
думали, что
перерыв?
я делаю сейчас?
Да.
Sorry, we thought we were talking about having a coffee break after. And when I saw that note, I thought you wanted to make a report right now because you are in a hurry. No?
We are not in a hurry.
So,
No, they are not in a
you
hurry,
just
so we
need-
have to
you
make
need-
coffee
You
break.
need more time. Do you need more time for your report? What?
We need about 3-5 minutes at all. All in all.
15 minutes.
That's just right now.
So,
Okay,
are we going to have a coffee break?
If you are ready, so please have a break.
No.
Because we have a talk.
Нет, ну, может, я вообще предлагаю попить
Я просто не
чай.
поняла. Sorry.
No.
Have a break.
Have a break.
3 minutes.
Я не поняла, в чем был этот запрос.
Я тоже надо
Дискуссия.
после перерыва. Мы
сейчас.
сейчас.
Если тогда после перерыва,
Да,
мы
да.
это запланировали.
Да,
So,
отлично.
thank you very much.
Пойдем уже с Окей. Окей, Оля. Да, вот 118 аудиторию, пожалуйста, попить кофе, чай, далеко не разбредайтесь. Сколько у нас? 10 минут, пожалуйста. Вот 15.
Помоги мне.
Нас не так много.
Оказывается, меня все время на камере было видно. Можешь ее чуть-чуть прибавить?
Чай, кофе,
Поближе сделать. Чуть-чуть. Я скажу, когда.
чай, кофе, вернулся. Скажите, как ноги-то поставить? Да, конечно. Как она вас ласкала. Красавица. Нет, да. Так, где бы нам еще дежурные поставить там? А у нас у нас будет
We will start the economic section with the report of Marihina Lesia Vladimirovna and Nazarova Anna Nikolaevna, who will analyze logistical aspects of the transport complex of the Northwest region.
Thank you for attention. Thank you for invitation for this conference. Thank you, Victor Vitalia, and your very polite comment. Thank you. Nevertheless, you take us again.
And I always will.
Yes,
And I always will.
Yes, our article, of course, maybe not the best one, but we're happy to stay here. For us, it's very important. Once a year, we do all our best. We train our English, and we understand how important for us, because we have learned English for many years, and we don't use it in our nowadays life. And because, as we know, there are no contacts with Finnish universities, which it was previous years, and that's why, unfortunately, no practice, no English. And because of you, we have to be better, and we try to do all our best. So the topic is logistical aspects of the transport complex of the Northern West region in the system of international trade at the present stage. So at our article we try to analyze the problem of distribution of cargo shipments between Russian Federation and neighboring countries, and the importance of role of logistics in stabilizing international trade processes. So due to Russian Federation geographical location, it has a significant place in international transport, including both transit routes and domestic transport. All possible types of transport, sea, river, rail, air and road, cross its territory due to its diverse terrain. Of course, the main theme is international transport corridors. They were created to ensure comfortable and safe passage of all types of transport. The main idea in any international transport corridors is to concentrate all kinds of transport and logistic infrastructure in one possible road, where all the necessary infrastructure will be created for the comfortable passage of transport. As we know, with the start of the special military operation in February 2022, many supply chains were broken with Russia. And of course it's a problem for people who are connected with logistics, and that's why it became necessary to analyze what logistics will be in the future. And nowadays it's a new order of logistics. And as we can see, so logistics can't be built without synchronization with domestic and international law. Unfortunately, those people who work in logistics many years, so they have to study from the very beginning, because international law was broken, and as we know, many companies went from Russian business logistical at one time. And but you know, Russian people, they're very optimistic. And when we visit a lot of forums, a lot of exhibitions, professional exhibitions with logistics, they say, we thought it could be difficult, but it made us better. And nowadays, there are new ways of development of logistics and new ways of making business. And that's why it is impossible to overestimate the role of logistics in the development of international transport corridors. So, international transport corridors, so there are of course a lot of them in the world, but we analyzed those who are connected with Russia, and we all of us know the transit. So Asia, Russia, Europe, of course it's the main one. But for our article it was more actual north-south, so Russian Federation, Caspian Sea, Persian Gulf and India. Other international transport corridors, Alicia Vladimirovna will tell you about them. And about Northern Sea Road, we have told you last year. Yes. But as for very popular nowadays, north-south, so from St. Petersburg, Azerbaijan, Iran, India. So it is one of the most important international transport corridor, and we could understand the meaning of this way when we visited with Alicia Vladimirovna and our students in November one of the largest international forum exhibition of the development of transport corridors, logistics, transit and infrastructure, TransTech, which took part in St. Petersburg, and we Alicia Vladimirovna is here. She's here. I was here. Yes, and there were a lot of people from Iran, Kazakhstan, India, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, and others. And by the way, those people who are interested in this way, and they say, you know, they were happy. And they say, we were waiting for the time when Russia will analyze that this way is the best for all of us. And so lots of variants and of moving goods so are here, and it's cheaper and it took not so much time. You can see so the difference, yes? And they say, we are your friends, you should understand it. We told you many times before, but you didn't believe us. And we told you that European people not so good as we are. And it was very interesting, you know. One of these guys, so is a minister of transport of Iran. He came by himself just to tell us that he's ready to walk with us in any variant. And at the day, I and Alice and our students believed in the future, and we know that it could be different variants of our colleagues from Europe, but we will survive. Yes. Few words about another variant. It will continue, Alicia Vladimirovna.
Sorry for my bad English. So, at the moment in the context in acute political conflict, there has been an complication in the movement of goods. Disruption of logistic flows by road, rail and air transport. The main problems in continue is the almost total isolation from suppliers who have provided more than 50% of the Russian Federation enterprises with goods. Considering this problem, it would be advisable to reduce the levels as much as possible at the moment the Russian Federation is suffering losses due to idle transport cargo that has gone beyond the Russian borders even before the situation has deteriorated. It is worth paying attention to international logistics flows and direction funds to strengthen them. At present, and the resumption of international shipments is complicated by sanctions from Euro-Union countries. Import substitution and reproduction of one of products should be paid attention in order to avoid loss of supplies from countries with which the Russian Federation has a trade with countries of Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania and Poland is currently complicated by sanctions and restrictions. Therefore, the Russian government should pay attention to domestic production and to foreign trade with ASEAN countries.
So, thank you for your attention. Of course, if you have questions, we're ready to answer. If not, thank you so much.
No questions?
No.
Thank you.
Let's get back to our program and on to the other most important issues of economics, and we would like to invite Dar'ya Gennadievna Yakovleva, who's spoken dedicated to sustainable production and consumption as a tool for sustainable regional development. Of course, the first author is a different one. Sorry for my mess.
Let me introduce myself. I'm associate professor, Department of Economics and Industrial Management. My topic is sustainable production and consumption as a tool for sustainable regional development. The scientific problem of green production is quite young on a historical scale. The stage of serious concern and decision making on the greening of production has been going on for 50 years. What is sustainable production and consumption? It means social production and consumption with the properties economic efficiency, social justice, and environmental safety. You can see this definition includes some aspects, you can see. And the most important is greening. Greening is moving from the end of the pipe thinking to beginning of the pipe thinking in all spheres of our efforts. Now let's see the process of greening in Russia. We have distinguished 3 stages. So, greening 1. Throughout the history of the Soviet Union, nature was perceived as a source of numerous resources. Only in 1988, the State Committee for the Protection of Nature and Natural Resources for the USSR, named as Gospромpriroda, was created. In fact, it became the first state agency in our history that was responsible for conducting environmental policy. In practice, the most successful example of greening in the USSR can be called the system of municipal solid waste management. There was a wide network of collection points where individual fractions were accepted. This made it possible to provide, for example, 22% of recycled pulp in the entire paper industry. Then, greening 2. At that time, the greening of production in Russia followed the global environmental trends. In 1996, the concept of Russia's transition to sustainable development was accepted, in which the biosphere is no longer perceived only as a supply of resources, but as the foundation for the life. Subsequently, various mechanisms for the transition to sustainable development were implemented in Russia. For example, certification according ISO 14000 standards, which was required to intensify international cooperation. In 2015, the main event in the field of greening is the adoption of the 17 Global Sustainable Development Goals, and Russia also has included in this process. This concept of sustainable development is based on a new type of environmental-oriented economy. In general, greening at this stage, greening 2, was carried out not only for economic but also for market reasons. And finally, greening 3. The beginning of last year crystallized and brought to a new level the risks of the external environment, in a certain way reducing the importance and removing the international obligations that Russia has assumed in the field of greening over the past decades. Such a transition must be carried out on the principles of sustainable development and their most accurate interpretation, on the principles of socio-ecological and economic balance, in which all three components are equal. What should we do in our future? For example, you can see a green strategy of the life cycle, and these are resource saving strategies, efficiency strategy, and eco-efficiency strategy. All the strategies are involved in each other, and they are interdependent. Then let's see the main conditions for the effectiveness of the new stage of green production in Russia. The first, it is necessary to increase the level of institutionalization of the greening and sustainable development. In conditions of colossal pressure on all public institutions, the sustainability of all elements is important. The economic system, the social sphere, and the environment. Therefore, a new document of the country's strategic development is required. Second, when implementing projects for the greening of production, the key indicators of the assessment should characterize the impact on the population, not the volume of production, the dynamics of GDP, the level of inflation, and others. And the third, greening must be carried out comprehensively. Some enterprises can use the secondary resources of another. The cost of greening can be shared. An example of such an approach can be the creation of infrastructural, socio-ecological, and technological systems in large agglomerations, in which circular flows of energy and resources are created instead of traditional input-output models, and material flow analysis is applied. The fourth, green economy, circular economy, low carbon economy, bioeconomy, and other types of eco-oriented economic models cannot be self-sufficient. They are not sustainable by itself. You need to combine all sorts of eco-economics. And finally, the fifth, the consumer is also responsible. We are responsible. The population is not just a beneficiary of the greening of production, but also its object. Raising the level of ecological culture of the population is necessary, no less than greening of production. And I'm very happy that in our institute we devoted to this process and tried to raise the ecological culture and education of our students. So nowadays, you can see comparison of the stages of greening in Russia and nowadays, green, our perspective, and how nowadays the green production cannot be carried out in isolation from the achievement of social goals and without taking into account the entire life cycle of goods, from resource extraction to final consumption and disposal. Therefore, this process must be carried out based not only on economic reasons, but on the principles of ecological and economic sustainable regional development. It is necessary to take into account what and how they produce in a given territory, the eco-intensity of this production, as well as what and how they consume, the ecological footprint of the consumption. since production and consumption systems are responsible for the imbalance between the economic subsystem and the environment of the territory. Therefore, one of the priority measures for the transition to sustainable development of regions is the formation of territorial sustainable systems of production and consumption. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. It was very interesting. Are there any questions?
No, can we refer to previous
This
one? Yes. And nowadays, in your opinion, on what stage are we now?
The second stage we have finished, and we have finished it according to following trends, and but it doesn't matter that we inventing something new. We should transform our experience and include our previous experience of Soviet Union, because it was good results in waste recycling. So we have I don't know what was the trend, but I hope that the most important that we shouldn't stop it.
Yes. And now we are moving from the second to the third stage.
In new circumstances. Process. The process.
What happened during the second stage that led to the decrease of efficiency? Why have we become so unaware of the necessity of recycling? So in Soviet Union everything was fine, as you said, but what happened?
Not fine.
No, rather efficient.
Efficiency is just a mistake. Because I see the medium, the low medium. But now you can see that we turn to economic and social and environment, not economic market, not international companies, but social. Our life standards, our people, our environment, our resources.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, comment. It's not a question, but just a comment. I'm grateful to you, Nadina, that you, how to say, join this very small and cozy circle of your economic group mates, of your economic colleagues. And I do hope that next year you also will report, you'll have your report at our conference together with your colleagues from the economic department. Thank you.
And I want to say that I have no practice in presentation in English more than 15 years. So thank you very much for this experience. And I want to improve my English and use the opportunities to present myself.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now, Fretina Elena Mikhailovna, PhD in Economic Sciences, Director of the Institute of Management and Economics. You introduce us to the federal project Closed Loop Economy, which can be implemented in the pulp and paper industry.
So I think the learning beginning, the learning end. Well, in 2021, the Russian government approved a list of initiatives for socio-economic development of Russian Federation. And among them, there was one which was devoted to closed loop economy. In January next year was formed the passport of the federal project. Here we see the principles of closed-loop economic. Among them, preventing waste generation, maximizing recovery of usable substances from used goods, use of separate waste collection system, and restoration of ecosystem. Well, these three principles are ways to achieve the change in the way of resources are used, to close the production cycle completely, to make the cycle as narrow as possible, and to slow it down. Here we see the directions of the federal closed-loop economy of the project. I will not read. I think it will be easier for you to read it. Here are key goals of the federal project. One is index of use of secondary resources and raw materials from waste, and another key goal is proportion of packaging types recycled. And now we are coming to our industry, pulp and paper industry. The contribution of forestry sector is very insignificant. So 2025, it's less than 1% in gross domestic product. But pulp and paper industry products more than 22% in the production structure of forest industry complex. So the contribution of pulp and paper industry to the formation of closed-loop economy can be very significant. And now let's start moving through the principles of closed-loop economy. Let's start with ecosystem restoration. Large pulp and paper mills have an assigned forest area, almost all of them have been certified under the FSC system. And now it's called forest benchmark. We have national system, analog of FSC system. Companies in the industry have used intensive forestry techniques. To this end, they open their own nurseries for seed multiplications and seeding production. In addition of seeding and planting, the companies organize cleaning, protection against forest against fires and illegal logging. There is no official statistics, but according to experts, fires and logging sites assigned to responsible forest users occur much less frequently than the national average. Wood is not like metal or glass, and it cannot be recycled to produce material of the same quality. So the main principle for forest products is cascading. The concept of cascading is defined as an efficient use of the resource by using resites and recycles materials to increase the overall availability of biomass within the given system. From the technical point of view, with cascading, a mold usually loses quality at each processing step. During processing, contaminants accumulate due to the past use of preservatives, dyes, and other substances. For this reason, sorting wood waste into mixed fractures is a complicated task. An example of successful solution of this technical challenge is paper recycling. From market perspective, the costs of collection, sorting, and cleaning used wood make price of its comparable to what of virgin wood, which reduces the economic attractiveness of this cascade proceeding. The Russian lumber industry uses elements of cascade proceeding, for example, proceeding sawdust into pellets, wastewater into cardboard, and hydrolysis, and so on and so forth. Main problem is decarbonization of the atmosphere. We have to say that carbon is reserved in wooden products. For example, paper will keep carbon during 6 years. Furniture will keep carbon during 30 years, and wooden houses from 70 to 100 years. Of course, one moment this carbon would go into atmosphere, but the cycle will be more slow, and it's important for the situation, for planet situation. And the last moment is recycling large tonnage waste of the industry. The large tonnage waste of pulp and paper industry is lignin, bark, sludge, and etc. About lignin, there is old practice of using lignin as a compost in agriculture. However, it's not the only variant of using this product, this waste. Today, our manufacturers make products from lignin which can be used in building materials industry, metallurgy, mining, oil industry, construction, and etc. Bark is used to produce compost, fodder products, tannings, and fuel, technological fuel. And now we have a lot of researches for using large tonnage waste of industry, which was stopped one day, and they ought to be, they are waiting for its renewal. And I hope that some of these researches can be realized with the help of this federal project. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
I have a question. May I ask you about the separate waste collection system? What should be done to develop it? For example, near my house there's only one container for plastic, not for glass.
Not
What
for
should be
paper.
done?
Not for paper, not for
For
glass.
organic waste.
I think it
yeah.
Organic
depends.
waste, yeah.
I think it depends from the new municipalities. For example, in my yard, we have two containers for plastic and for accumulators. Accumulators. And in 300 meters, I have special station. We have big, how to say it, trade complex. And near this trade complex, we have a special station where we have to put here paper, plastic, then glass, then aluminium,
Where do you live?
and so on and so forth.
Where do you live? Where is it this mall?
Baltic Pearl, Балтийская жемчужина.
Because I think that in comparatively new complexes, there are such facilities.
Yeah. But no, I live, by the way, I settled in the local area of Ubud. And here we have special plastic boxes for glass, for paper, and that's it. And that's it. No again, no plastic. I think that organic wastes are more important to be separated from glass or maybe glass. I don't know. I'm not good at all these wastes, so I can't say what is more important to separate.
Look at the custom. We are sure that this separate collection system is very old and very traditional for Europe. But when I first visited Denmark, it was in 1996. There was only one thing that they collected separately, glass. One, only glass. And there were special containers for glass everywhere, and it was strictly forbidden to put some glass item in package with your waste. It was impossible. There will be a great penalty for you. And now, so how many years passed? Now they have another system. They collect different types of waste separately. And I think we are teaching very soon. And progress is very fast in Russia, I think. And for us it's very important to use properly the things we collect separately.
Yes.
Very important for us to know that they are used in proper way.
Yeah.
And
What will be collected? What you?
yes. I am not sure. It's a pity, but I am not sure.
I'm not sure yet.
The first step is to collect separately, and the second step is to use it, recycle it in a good way, in a proper way.
Yes.
And to have byproducts from these collected wastes. Yeah, but unfortunately, I'm not sure that we have enough industrial enterprises to treat them, to treat all these wastes, even if they are collected separately. The way.
Yes, and that's the major problem, that we don't have enterprises for recycling, and there are cases when the garbage collected separately was thrown into one bin eventually, and just put to the done.
Okay, yeah, it is. It is a great problem. Yeah, I agree. Thank you. No? Ah, Dina, hello. Nice to see you. Thank you.
Our next presenter is a PhD student of St. Petersburg State University of Economics, Kuzakov Dmitry Igorovich, who has sent his video presentation.
Let's take a close look at it. Watch the video.
So as you may have noticed, it's not really speech, this is kind of warning, there's no corruption, no information problems, and this is very important and very valuable that physical presence saves the hospital. And let's move on to our topic today. This is risk management in small and medium-sized enterprises. Well, small and medium-sized enterprises play a critical role in the global economy, contributing significantly to job creation, innovation, and economic growth. As these businesses navigate an increasingly complex and uncertain environment, effective risk management practices become essential for their success and sustainability. However, small and medium-sized enterprises will face unique challenges in implementing comprehensive risk management strategies, primarily due to their size, limited resources, and organizational structure. Let me switch to the next slide. Here we go. Well, in the context of small and medium-sized enterprises, risk management is particularly important for several reasons. First of all, small and medium-sized enterprises typically have limited resources and capacities compared to larger organizations. And this is making them more vulnerable to the adverse effects of risks. This vulnerability can result in significant financial and operational disruptions, potentially threatening the survival of the enterprise. Secondly, small and medium-sized enterprises often operate in dynamic and competitive markets where they face numerous uncertainties and changing conditions that can give rise to new risks. As such, adopting a proactive approach to risk management is crucial for these businesses to anticipate and adapt to emerging threats and opportunities. Despite the importance of risk management, within this research was found that many small and medium-sized enterprises do not implement formal risk management processes or practices at all. Small and medium-sized enterprises face various risks and uncertainties. However, embracing risk management practices can stimulate innovation and promote growth. By understanding and managing risks, small and medium-sized enterprises can seize new opportunities, enter new markets, and develop innovative products and services. Risk management encourages a culture of experimentation and calculated risk-taking, ultimately driving business growth and development. It is worth noting that risk events are not only about exposure to danger, but also often opportunities to pursue business ventures that could promise valuable growth. In light of these challenges, this is a growing need to enhance risk management practices within small and medium-sized enterprises, helping them navigate the complexities and uncertainties of today's business landscape. And here we go to the next slide. Well, while risk management practices may vary depending on the specific characteristic, industry, and geographical location of each enterprise, here I want to give you a brief description of tools and approaches used by small and medium-sized enterprises to manage risks. First of all, and the one most popular, is informal or ad hoc risk management. Many small and medium-sized enterprises rely on informal practices, often driven just by the experience or the intuition of business owners or managers or stakeholders, and they do not adopt any formal approaches. The other option, some enterprises have adopted more formal frameworks, enterprise risk management frameworks, which involve a holistic and integrated approach to manage risks across the organization. These frameworks can be tailored to specific needs and specific resources of each enterprise, but at the same time, such frameworks may overlook the operational specificity of enterprise and their aptitude for agility. Common risk identification techniques employed by some enterprises include brainstorming, interviews, surveys, checklists, and scenario analysis. To address identified risks, enterprise may implement a range of risk mitigation strategies and controls. These can include risk avoidance, risk reduction, risk transfer, and risk acceptance. And ongoing monitoring and communication are crucial elements of effective risk management in small and medium-sized enterprises. This may involve regular reviews of the risk landscape, tracking of risk indicators, and timely communication of risk-related information to relevant stakeholders. The importance of enhancing risk management practices in small and medium-sized enterprises is supported by both theoretical and empirical research in the field of risk management. And I want to give you a brief overview of these theories and empirical findings about the risk management practices in small and medium-sized enterprises. The first one is portfolio theory developed by Harry Markowitz. And these state that by diversifying investments across a range of assets, the investor can optimize their risk-return profile. This theory can be applied to small and medium-sized enterprises by suggesting that businesses should diversify their risk exposure to optimize their overall risk profile. Enhancing risk management practices in small and medium-sized enterprises can help identify opportunities for diversification and support strategic decision-making to mitigate potential risks. The other one, the resource-based view of the firm, emphasizes the importance of internal resources and capabilities in driving competitive advantage and business performance. Effective risk management practices can be seen as a valuable resource and capability that enables enterprise to anticipate and manage potential threats, thereby enhancing their competitive advantage and long-term sustainability. Contingency theory posits that organizations should adapt their management practices to the specific context and environment in which they operate. In the context of small and medium-sized enterprises, this implies that risk management practices should be tailored to the unique characteristics and challenges faced by the particular businesses, and also take into account factors such as industry size or geographical location or any other. For this research, I have conducted several surveys among owners and top managers of a number of enterprises. And here are some valuable insights into the challenges and opportunities faced by these enterprises in implementing risk management practices. It was found that small and medium-sized enterprises have adopted a diverse range of risk management practices, but most likely attempt to stick to informal, this at home approach to risk management. The level of formalization and sophistication of these risk management practices is quite low, and none of the enterprises took part in survey adopted any formal risk management practices or frameworks. The majority of enterprise owners and managers surveyed acknowledged the importance of risk management for their businesses. They recognize that effective risk management practices contribute to increased resilience, sustainability, and competitiveness. However, there is still a significant gap between the perceived importance of risk management and the actual implementation of these practices in enterprises. Several challenges and limitations faced by small and medium-sized enterprises in implementing risk management practices were identified, including limited resources, lack of expertise, and lack of understanding of risk management approaches and tools. And also, how intensive should risk management be? Additionally, small and medium-sized enterprise owners often have an optimistic bias, which may lead to underestimating the potential risks and impacts on their businesses. Well, you have just heard one of the first parts of my research related to risk management in IT projects. This part of my research provides valuable insights into the current state of risk management practices in small and medium-sized enterprises, the challenges and opportunities faced by these businesses in implementing risk management practices, and the factors that contribute to effective risk management. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our colleagues from the Institute of Management and Communications have found it useful because it was difficult for me to understand these minor aspects. So was it useful?
When we ask questions,
Unfortunately, we cannot write emails to the author.
I have questions.
You do have questions.
Fortunately.
Yes, we will ask him.
Sure. The matter is that these postgraduate students is right now lives and works in Spain. And previously he decided to contact us via Zoom, and we were waiting for his report. But the matter is that there are some ad hoc situations, and he said that he couldn't have any opportunity to contact us. That's why, but he was very good at emailing us his report via email. So he made it via email. So he sent us his report, and it's very interesting that being in Spain, he is interested in our conference. It's very good. Thank you.
It's a slogan.
Yes, it's fame.
Popularity. The last speakers from today are from the previous day. We should say that they are philologists and the representatives of the Department of Foreign Languages. Семчук Елена Владимировна and Sergeyeva Ksenia Yakovlevna will tell us about andragogy, which is commonly defined as the art of science of teaching adults or helping adults learn. And let's learn more about this science.
I would like to ask my students to write down this material of our presentation. Okay? And today we would like to tell you about andragogy. Our speech will be divided into parts. The first part is the andragogy is in general, and the second part the principles of andragogy. The whole history of the formation and development of human learning as a development area with activity indicates that learning should be continuous and adaptive. Since the personnel of enterprises are adult, training should be carried out taking into account their age, socio-psychological, national, and other characteristics. This is what modern pedagogical science is aimed at pedagogy, as a branch of pedagogical science that reveals the theoretical and practical problems of teaching, educating an adult throughout his life. In a broad sense, anthropology should be understood as a science of personal self-realization of a person throughout his life. As you know, some people realize themselves at a young age, but many people often are gradually accumulating knowledge, experience, skills, and abilities throughout their lives. And pedagogy contributes to such a disclosure of personality, helps to find one's place in life, to realize one's hidden abilities. And pedagogy implements the most ancient formula of learning. We learn not for school, but for our life. As a science, anthropology is separated from pedagogy, since pedagogy is the education and upbringing of a child, while many results actually turn out to be important only for the school. The concept of andragogy is the essence of pedagogy. The concept of andragogy was introduced in scientific use in 1833 by the German historian of pedagogy, A. Keck. Literally translated, andragogy is the knowledge of an adult, human knowledge. Since the term is generated by pedagogical reality, we are talking about leading through education. And pedagogy can be viewed from different perspectives as area for scientific knowledge, the scope of social practice, academic discipline. Obviously, the area of intersection of scientific interest for these areas of knowledge is an adult. The main function of andragogy is accordance with the meaning of its name, is to lead an adult. Now, ask you to tell about principle, the general principle of andragogy.
The main position of anthropology is, in contrast to traditional science, is that the leading role in the learning process is played not by the teacher but by the student. The function of a teacher in this case is to assist the student in identifying, systematizing, replenishing his knowledge. In this case, there is a change in the priority of teaching materials. In addition, the approach to obtaining theoretical knowledge is changing. Disciplines containing integrated material in several related fields of knowledge, interdisciplinary disciplines, for example, project management, come to the fore. Modern science identifies the following principles of anthropology. The principle of prioritization of independent learning. In order to practically use this principle, considerable preliminary preparation is necessary. The preparation of training programs, the selection and application of educational materials, and so on. This principle provides an opportunity for the concepts classifications, comprehend the processes and technologies for their implements. The second one, the principle of joint activity of the student with classmates and the teacher in the preparation and in the learning process. Third, the principle of using the existing positive life experience. This principle is based on the active teaching methods that stimulate the creative work. The fourth one, principle of correcting outdated experience and personal attitude that impede the development of new knowledge. Both professional and social experience can be used, which conflicts with the requirements of the time with the corporate goals. The fifth one, the principle of an individual approach to learning based on personal needs, taking into account the psychological characteristics of the individual and the restrictions that are imposed by his activities, the availability of free time, financial resources, etc. The sixth, principle of elective education. It means giving to the student the freedom to choose goals, content, forms, methods, sources, means, terms, time, place of learning, evaluation of learning outcomes. The seventh one, principle of reflectivity. This principle is based on the student's conscious attitude to learning, which is in turn is the main part of the student's self-motivation. The eighth.
Where are they, those principles? The seventh, the sixth?
No.
Do you have a slide
There
for
is
that?
no principles on this report.
Ah.
Yes. In our presentation,
I'll say
not all
Then-
principles which we say.
I didn't understand.
They don't have the visuals.
Okay. You don't have any
Visuals. Here.
Yeah.
the principle of
Okay.
activity.
Yes, they are. Sure. Method, sources, means, terms, time.
Freedom.
Okay, we'll speak about it later. Continue, please.
And the principle of systematic training. Then the principle of updating learning outcomes. Their early use in practice. The implementation of this principle is ensured by the previous principles: consistency, practical demand for learning outcomes, individual approach, use of accumulated experience. And the last, the principle of students' development. Training should be aimed at improving the personality, creating abilities for self-learning, comprehending something new in the process of practical human activity. In conclusion, it should be noted that as a science that recognizes and generalizes the practice of adult education, andragogy makes it possible to reasonably formulate and implement the educational goals of adults. Developing these theoretical and methodological foundations of activities that help to acquire general and professional knowledge, master the achievements of culture, for moral guidelines, andragogy considers education in the context of the person's life path. That's all.
Thank you.
Елена Vladimirovna, thank you very much. It was very interesting.
Further, maybe for future will be very, very interesting. Yes?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have a question. What does andragogy stands for? Well, isn't this a combination of two words? Pedagogy and
the self-realization.
Self-realization.
Yes, good.
According
And
to
Victoria Vitalyevna, it is a continuous education.
Yes, lifelong learning.
Continuous.
We understood. Lifelong learning. I mean, my question is, what are the
Andra.
Two words. Andra. What does Andra mean? I understand.
Age.
Age.
First of all, pedagogy and age.
Andra is
Pedagogy.
age.
It's not an age. Pedagogical, yes. Pedagogical science and so on and so forth. Pedagogy.
The main age.
And the first
Age.
in this.
Andra.
Yes.
Age.
Andra. Andra
Yes.
age. It means from.
Yes.
From Latin or
No,
Greek.
no.
Latin.
No, so Andra is an adult person.
Just a dumb person.
Adult and
No, it's not adult, it's just the science of teaching adults.
Adults, yes, that's all. Yeah.
And what languages?
yeah.
Greece.
I remember it. Греческий.
Greek.
Greek. From Greece.
Okay.
Greek.
Greek.
Yes,
Okay, I see.
yes, Greek.
Not Latin, but Greek.
No.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Just a moment. So, as I understood, your students have assignment, has task to make under your presentations. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Would you be so kind as to give me all those presentations?
Yes, of course.
The tasks they will do.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
yes.
It would be much more easier for them to do their work if your presentation wouldn't have such contraction when you subdivided words, leaving one letter of the word on one line, then the continuation on the second line. For us, even for us, we didn't found it was difficult to understand what word you mean until we saw that the continuation of the word is on the second line. Be attentive to your presentation. Now, I think it's your program did, but still. Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Thank you for your
Yeah.
attention.
No. Thank you.
Dear colleagues, thank you once again for your versatile reports, for being here with us, for your interest in our conference, for sharing your scientific views. And
The second day of conference is coming to the end. We are grateful to all of you for participating in our conference and hope that next year we can also meet here together.
thank you.
And to sum up our conference, I would like to tell you just a few words. First of all, thank you very much for as for this is the conference of Dialogue of Generations. We have representatives of two generations. First of all, Maria Alexandrovna is the teacher of our department, and Fyodor is a student of the first course. Yeah, of the first course. Thank you for your reaction, students. It's very
Yes,
nice.
we need to have more of them.
Next, what I want to tell is what I'm really grateful to our teachers who being so busy with everything, with their routine work, you have time to spend for our conference. In English, especially the teachers from non-philological department, they spend too much time. I'm sure it's not too easy for you, but we are grateful for you. And though it's a good challenge, but I really appreciate your work here. Thank you very much. And to my teachers, to the teachers of my department, the majority of them presented their reports yesterday, but I'm glad that the students of your group, Elena Vladimirovna,
Yes.
Senior,
And Alla Mikhailovna.
and Alla Mikhailovna group presented here to listen to you and understand that everything we do for you. Yes?
Yes.
It's still everything is what I do for you. Okay. Thank you. So see you next year. Bye. Have a nice day.